Hello, welcome back everyone. Today we will continue the basic Java concepts. In the previous class we have discussed about the types of programming as procedure oriented programming and object oriented programming. In procedure oriented programming, the programs are divided into procedures or functions. It focuses on the procedure for the solution of a problem. That means it emphasizes on the procedure or the logical structure rather than data. But in the case of object-oriented programming, a program is referred in terms of object and classes. This is focusing on data. A object-oriented programming concept focus on the data. And next we will move to the title object. All of you know what is the definition of object. In the previous class we have discussed about this object with examples. So object is an identifiable entity having specific characteristics and specific behavior. Examples like pen, pencil, book, notebook or laptop, mobile, each and every person, you, is it? Yeah. And this object has characteristics and behavior. Object example are characteristics of a pen. What are the characteristics of pen and what are the behavior of the pen? These all we discussed in the last video. Pen's characteristics means color, length, size, with cap or without cap, like this different characteristics will be there. And what is the method behavior of the pen for writing, drawing? We are using pen. So these are the behavior. Next one, how this real world object is implemented in the software field. Yeah, object has properties or characteristics and behavior. So the state of an object is mentioned through the variables or the data items. I hope everyone know what is a variable, is it? Yeah. So mentioned through the variables or data items. And behavior means it's mentioned through the functions. Behavior of an object is mentioned through the functions, that is generally called as methods. So through variables and through functions, we are implementing a real world object into a program. Next we will look at concept class. So class, what is a class? Class is a blueprint of an object. Now we know what is an object. Next, what is a class? Actually, what is a class? Class is a blueprint of an object. That means a blueprint that represents a set of objects that share common characteristics and behavior. Understood? It will share common characteristics and behavior. That is a class. So here I have written an example in this right side. When you are writing notes, you should write after the class definition. This is our example. You should draw and write after this class definition. So here I just take an example. Car is the class name. So car having also classes also have the characteristics and behaviors. Yeah. So what are the state of car? Color, number of gears, model, length, width. These are the different ones. And methods means the functionality of car is accelerating, changing gears, halting, braking, like this all methods. So the state and methods. This state is represented through the variables in the program, and these are the methods. We need to represent through the methods. So here the class having state and methods. So we can tell, you remember, just to recollect that concept encapsulation. What is that? Wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit. So car is a single unit, car is a class, it is a single unit, and wrap the data, state and methods. So we can tell class is also encapsulated one. Object is also encapsulated because from class we are deriving the object. So car we have written here as a class. From this car I am just deriving an object. Name is Ford. So all of you know Ford is also a car and it has also a common characteristics and behavior of the class car. Clear? You can also develop, write or derive different objects like Tata Nano, Honda City or any other car name you can write as as object from the class car. One simple example to understand this one. A bird is a class. Consider bird is a class. Yeah, bird means it is a generalized one, is it? Yeah. So consider parrot, only one parrot category. Parrot means that is the object of the class bird. So bird is a class and parrot is the object of the class bird. Like here, second example, class name is Honda City. So Honda City with a particular registration like DK0212, like any registration, particular registration means it is an object of the class Honda City. Two more examples we can look. You belong to 10th standard, is it? Yeah. So consider 10th standard is a class. So what are the state and methods of the 10th standard? State means number of students, number of subject, is it? These are the state of the 10th standard. Then in the case of methods means learning, writing, studying, drawing, these are playing, these are the different methods. So if you are creating object of 10th standard means how we can tell Brookdale, Riverdale, Springdale, these are the three objects of the class 10th standard. Clear? One more example if you want to get it clear. Consider the student. Consider a student. Consider the student as a class. So what are the characteristics and behavior of a student? Characteristics means name, roll number, marks obtained, is it? These are the variables. And methods means what are the functions? What the behavior? Playing, studying, writing, learning, eating, sleeping. These all the methods belongs to the class or belongs to a student. So we can write class, student, and what are the state and methods? We know that what are the state and methods that we have to include in the class student. So how will you tell an object? How will you create an object of class student? Yeah, each one of you are the object of a class, is it? Example, Vaishak is the object of the class student. Vaishnavi is the object of the class student, like this. Clear? Any doubt? Because Vaishnavi is also having name, roll number, particular name, roll number and marks. Vaishak is also having the same name, common properties like same not, common property, common characteristics and behavior. Is it? Yes, this is a way we will create an object and how we will link this class and object. Next is the basic two concepts, that is object-oriented programming concepts. The first one, data abstraction or abstraction, in both ways, data abstraction or abstraction. So before moving to the definition of data abstraction, let's look at an example to understand what is data abstraction. Okay. So if you want to switch on the fan, what you will do? Yeah, of course you will press on the certain switch, is it? That is, no need to know about the internal circuitry to switch on or off. You are just pressing that particular switch to switch on the fan or bulb or light or whatever, is it? So that what do you understand from that? That is knowing only the essential things to operate on switchboard without knowing the background details of the switchboard. So in a switchboard, we only press certain switches according to our requirements. There is no need of knowing the internal circuitry to switch on or switch off. Is it? Any doubt? No. Is it? All of you clear on this example? The same way, data abstraction means that is the act of representing the essential features without including the background details, or that is hiding the background details. That's why I have given an example switchboard. Now I hope now you understood the clear concept of data abstraction. Then the abstraction is always related to the purpose or the user. How it is related to the user means, just with an example we can describe, that way you can easily understand. So abstraction is always related to the purpose or user. So an object may have multiple abstraction depend upon the content. Depend upon the situation, an object may have multiple abstraction. So here just discussing the example to know how this abstraction is always related to the user. Okay, we talk about a student. Student as an object. We can consider anything that belongs to her. Personal details like parent name, father's name, parent name, siblings, or like medical history, like this everything. The role in the school case means roll number, name, medical details. Is it? When we talk for the marking system or result tracking system, we need or the class abstracted. Abstraction would be roll number, name, and marks obtained. It is in the case of extracurricular activity means what is abstraction? How will be the abstraction? Abstraction would be roll number, talent, and awards. Is it? So now you understood how it is related to the user or purpose depending on the situation, depends upon the content or context. It is related to the user. So if in the case of student, when we take the result tracking system means as an abstraction we need only roll number, name, and marks obtained. But in the case of extracurricular activities means we need what are the things? Roll number, talents, and awards according to their based on the weightage of extracurricular activity. Next one, encapsulation, that we discussed in the last class. What is encapsulation? Wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit. That is, it is a way to implement data abstraction. Now we know what is data abstraction and by which way we are implementing data abstraction means through the encapsulation. We are implementing data abstraction. Is it? Yeah. Encapsulation hides the details of the implementation of an object. How this encapsulation implement data abstraction? How? That means encapsulation hide the details of the implementation of an object. And encapsulation enables access restriction to a class members and methods by making them public, private, and protected. These public, private, and protected are known as access specifiers. That means through these keywords, public, private, and protected, we can restrict the access of the data from one class to other class or from one method to other method. When you are writing a Java program, you will write public class or public static void main of, like that you are writing. So the keyword you are using is public. What it means? That is one of the access specifier, and this public keyword indicates that data or that method can be accessed throughout the class. If we are writing a method as public means that method can be accessed throughout that particular program. These other terms, public, private, and protected, that is access specifiers, we will learn in the further classes in detail with examples. Okay. Now encapsulation, how encapsulation enables the access restriction. It enables the access restriction to a particular class, data, or data member, or the method by using these access specifiers. Okay. So what are the three different access specifiers? Public, private, and protected. So what is an encapsulation? Encapsulation means it is wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit. Two cases we have discussed using the encapsulation. One is the object and the other one is the class. Both are encapsulated one, isn't it? So we can do wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit called class, and another one unit is known as object. The next one is modularity. Modularity is the act of partitioning a program into individual components, into small components, like modular programming procedure or modular procedure programming, based on that same act of partitioning a program into individual components. That is a property of a system that has been decomposed into a set of small modules. why we are using this modularity as one of the basic roots concept means it enables reusability and it minimizes duplication. That is the important term. Enables, modularity enables reusability and minimizes duplication. Okay. So the next concept is inheritance. The process of inheriting the properties of one class to another class. In an easy way, you can just look at an example. A child is inheriting the property of parent. That is inheritance. The same way, the process of inheriting or deriving the property of one class to another class is known as inheritance. So we need two classes. A class from which another class inherits is known as base class or superclass or parent class. And a class inheriting from another class is known as derived class or subclass or child class. So now clear? There is an best example. This one, a child is inheriting or deriving the property of properties from the parent. The same way, inheritance means that process of inheriting the properties of one class to another class. So base class is otherwise known as superclass or parent class, and derived class is otherwise known as subclass or child class. Clear? Okay. So the last one is the polymorphism. Polymorphism means ability of representing a thing in more than one form. That polymorphism means many. Morphism means forms. So one name can have many forms. That is, one name can have many forms. An example, a person at the same time can have different characteristics. Like a man at the same time, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a son, he's an employee in office. So the same person possesses different behavior in different situations. You are a student in the class and you are son or daughter to your parents. And granddaughter or grandson to your grandparents. Like that. So one name can have many forms, or we can tell one person, same person is acting with the different characters or different behavior in different situations. That is the best example to know about polymorphism. Clear? So what is polymorphism? The ability of representing a thing in more than one form. That is, it is the property by which the same message can be sent to objects of several different classes, and each object can respond in a different way, depends on its class. That is known as polymorphism. Next, we will discuss about Java. Yes, it is one of the popular third generation language. I hope everyone knows different generation languages. And Java comes under third generation language. Third generation language, high level language has evolved. So Java is a popular third generation language. And it is a general purpose object oriented programming as well as platform to perform various tasks related to programming and World Wide Web applications. So Java means it's a programming as well as platform. That means it offers, or Java is both a programming language and a platform. The word platform means it is a combination of hardware and software. But in the case of Java platform, it is a software platform and that can deliver and run highly interactive, dynamic, secure application on network computer system. So Java is a programming language support networking systems. So that's why Java is most popular one. And a programming language developed named as Oak was introduced by James Gosling in 1991. Later in 1995, it is renamed as Java. So this is the history of Java. So actually, what is a Java? Java belongs to third generation language, and it is purely an object-oriented programming language, and Java acts as both programming language and platform. Platform means it will support to run highly interactive applications. Okay. So Java is another, last year you have learned about the features of Java like object-oriented, platform independent, portable, is it? So So here I have mentioned a statement. Java is a platform independent language. Why it is platform independent language? All of you know. Yes, it is platform independent because Java is a platform independent because that is they are not affected by changing the platform. That is known as platform independent, isn't it? That they are not affected by changing the platform. Or Java solves the problem of platform independence by using a particular code, a special code that is known as bytecode. Okay, so Java uses bytecode. That's why Java is independent on the platform. It is not affected by changing different platform. Okay, let's look the ordinary compilation process and Java compilation. By this word, or Java is a platform independent. By this statement, we can understand Java is not going or not processing the ordinary compilation. Is it something different from the ordinary compilation? So let's look what is ordinary compilation process. Okay, ordinary compilation actually in a computer programming language either compiles a program or interprets. Is it? You remember the word compiler and interpreter? Yes, converting or translating high level language into machine level language. So in ordinary programming language or in a computer programming language, in a computer programming language, through ordinary compilation process, either it compiles or interprets. But but in the case of Java, it's little different. Okay, first we will see the ordinary compilation. Ordinary compilation means it compiles a program or interprets a program. So what is the source code in that? Just we will tell C++ also you are writing source code, source program. What is that? A program written by the programmer is not a source code. Compilation means what is compilation? It is converting a source code into machine code, depends on the platform. So here I have given a pictorial representation of ordinary compilation process. That is a source program. That means a program you are writing in particular language, C++ or something. So source program. Then consider in Macintosh we are executing. So source program is converted into machine code by the Macintosh compiler for Macintosh. Then it will convert into machine code for Macintosh. Next, if you are using Windows 10, means in that Windows 10 system means it will compile. Compiler for Windows 10 will be here. It will compile the source code into machine code for the particular platform. In Unix means it will convert its machine code, is it? So the source program is converted into machine code, depends on the platform. That is the ordinary compilation. In some cases compiling or interpreting, either one will be. Listen, here I have given the examples for compiler. So source code is converted into machine code by corresponding compilers that depends on the platform. So how the Java compilation process? Yeah, Java compilation means Java, let's look this pictorial representation. Java compiler, that is the Java code. We are writing a Java code. Java code is converted into Java bytecode. Java code is converted into Java bytecode, and this conversion is done by this Java compiler. Then here also Java interpreter is there. So two words are in there for the compilation of Java. That is, Java compilation process involves the two things together. What are they? In the first stage, Java compiler translate the source code into bytecode instruction. Then this bytecode is interpreted by the JVM and it generates machine code that directly executed by the computer system. Understood? So Java compilation process means it combines both. Both means what are they? Compilation and interpretation. So when we are writing a Java code and it will compile to Java bytecode by the Java compiler, and this Java bytecode is interpreted through JVM and it produces corresponding machine code. So let's look one by one point. Java compiler translates the source code into bytecode instruction. The Java bytecode is exactly same on every platform. It is same. Java bytecode is same on every platform. This bytecode is interpreted by a special Java interpreter for a specific platform. And this Java interpreter is known as JVM, Java Virtual Machine. The Java interpreter reads the bytecode and translates it into respective native machine languages. That's why here consider three operating system. One is Macintosh, Windows 10, Unix. In the previous comparison also we had done the three operating system. Here also we are taking the same Macintosh, Windows 10, Unix. So here each one having particular Java interpreter. Listen. So Java bytecode is common to is a machine. Java bytecode is produced, and this Java bytecode is translated into machine code using the interpreter of respective platform. That is Java interpreter for Macintosh. If Windows 10 means Java interpreter for Windows 10, Java interpreter for Unix. Okay, so available by JVM, Java Virtual Machine. That's why it is independent language, platform independent language. That's why it is known as platform independent language. Understood? So in the there's once more this look. In the ordinary compilation process means either compiles or interpret. Either one will be there. Source program is compiled or converted into machine code based on the platform. If Macintosh means Macintosh compiler will compile. Windows means Windows 10's compiler will convert it like that. But in the case of Java compilation process, this Java code is compiled by Java compiler and we will get a Java bytecode. It is not purely a machine language. It is a Java bytecode instruction. That Java bytecode is interpreted by JVM, that is the Java interpreter, respective to the specific platform, according to the specific platform. Clear? This is the compilation process of Java. There are two types of Java program. One is the application and the other one is the applet. Application means that a standalone application. It is generally a software application that doesn't require low-level operating system or hardware access. So every standalone application of Java begins execution with a main method. In a program you are writing public static void main of using that main method. If any main method is there means in application it will start the execution from the main method. Then in the case of applet is similar to application, but they don't run standalone. They are run inside another application such as a web browser. That means applets are small programs that are embedded in web pages and are run on the viewer's machine in a secured manner by the Java capable browsers. Applets are designed to be delivered to internet browsers, and that's why an applet has a built-in graphical window. Okay, so these are the two main types of program. One is application and the one is applet. Applet means it can be executed or run on web browser, run with the help of web browsers. Application means no web browser. It is a standalone application without any software or doesn't require low level operating system or hardware access in the case of application. Applications are known as standalone application. Hope everyone understood today's topics, objects, class, basic object oriented concepts, then the history of Java, then what else we have discussed, types of programs, compilation and ordinary compilation and Java compilation. The last one is types of Java program. So all of you have to write notes. First you have to listen carefully, then start writing the notes. So see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.